With Claude Code, you can build fully working applications without writing a single line of code. And in this video, I will show you exactly how. I know there's a lot of tutorials out there, but I feel like most of them share how to use Claude Code, assuming people know how to use an IDE, understand usage limits, among other things. So if you know all about these things, this video is not really for you. However, if you're just getting started and you want to understand the basics of Claude Code, how to install it, how to make the most out of it, usage limits, pricing, and more, you're in the right place. Because in this video, I will not only share with you all of this, but we'll also actually build a working application so you can see how I do it step by step and you can just copy it. By the end of this video, I will take a prompt from looking like this into a working product that looks like this. Yes, we are building a prompt to AI video generator. So let's get right into it. The same way OpenAI has ChatGPT, Anthropic, their main competitor, has Claude. And within it, there's multiple models, such as Haiku, Sonnet, and Opus. But there's one thing in specific about Claude that's much better than all of its AI competitors, and that is Claude Code. Claude Code is essentially an AI agent capable of creating fully working web applications on your behalf. So you don't have to write a single line of code, you simply have to prompt it and it will create all the code files on your behalf and make it workable. But before I show you how it works, I want to quickly show you how much it costs. So as you can see right here, there are 3 pricing tiers: free, Pro, and Max. There's actually a fourth one that's even more expensive and it's $200 a month, which is not showing right now. For you to be able to access Claude Code, you will have to be on a paid tier. They made it available in the lowest paid tier, which is the Pro tier. You will see here that for $17, well, if you choose the monthly option, it's actually 20 plus VAT, so $24. You are able to use Claude Code for a certain amount of time. But if you want more usage, you can upgrade to the Max plan. That gives you 5 times more usage of Claude Code. Now the second stage. There are actually usage limits depending on the price plan that you choose. If you're on the Pro plan, you will have access to certain limits. But if you're on the Max plan, you'll have access to 5 times those limits. And that actually goes upwards if you choose the Pro Max plan, I suppose the plan that you pay $200 a month for. Limits are split between 2 sections. You have current session limits, which a session is 5 hours. So from the moment you start using it, there's a certain amount of questions and prompts that you can actually give to Claude. And then there's also weekly limits. So for a determined week, you can use Claude for a certain amount of prompts. It is important to manage these depending on the plan that you're on. And I'm actually going to show you how much of this usage is used when you're building an application. You can use Claude Code in 3 main ways: on the web, on a terminal, and on an IDE. My opinion is that on the web, you can't really do much. The level of flexibility and applications that you can create is quite limiting. On a terminal, well, I just think it's too technical, even for someone who feels comfortable with a technical implementation. I really think the IDE, the third option, is really sits down the middle of these two and is what gives you the best possible outcome for the shortest amount of work. So that's the one that I'm going to take you through today. The first thing you will need to do is go to this website right here called VS Code. And what you want to do is download it. I know this may look daunting, but I promise you, you will not have to write a single line of code. Ultimately, this is AI. All you'll have to do is follow these instructions and start prompting Claude. So you're going to download it right here. Once you've downloaded it, it will look kind of like this. And what you want to do is just create a folder. I'm going to call my folder AI Video. And I'm going to leave it right here. I will then go back to VS Code and I will click on Open. I'll find the folder that I just created and I'm going to open it. So you can see right here on the left-hand section that my folder is open, even though it's empty. All the files that we will create in the future will sit right here. In fact, you will not actually create the files yourself. You will ask Claude to do it on your behalf, and I'm going to show you how. Now you're going to go down to this button called Extensions. You're going to click on it, and you're going to click on the button Install. Now, obviously, I've already installed it, but you'll be able to do it by just clicking this button. Once you've installed it here, it will prompt you to add your email and password, or to simply connect it via your Claude web app. Once you've accepted that and added your credentials, you'll be able to see it right here. Okay, so now you have Claude Code installed and you have it on your terminal. Now, if you're a proficient Claude Code user and you build projects on an ongoing and frequent basis, one of the things that you'll want to do is to start your project with a Claude.md file. This is essentially going to be your system prompt, or the overarching guidelines of how Claude Code should act in different scenarios when you're building your project. And I actually asked Claude the best way to write a Claude.md file. So I have put together all the best tips, tricks, and considerations to have. I'm not going to go through it in detail right now, but you can find it in the link in my description, which also includes an example of a Claude.md file that you can use for yourself. In this case, however, I'm not building a project for production. This is an MVP only that I'm probably going to discard after this video. So no Claude.md file necessary. So now that I have Claude Code open on my IDE, there's actually something quite important that you must know. On the bottom left corner right here, it says ask before edits. If you click it, it will say edit automatically. And if you click on it again, it'll say plan mode. You always want to make sure that you start a project on plan mode. The reason for this is because you're going to be able to add your prompt. Claude is going to analyze it and it's going to get back to you with questions and with a plan. You're able to accept or reject recommendations and then you grow from there. If you just put edit automatically and you add your prompt, Claude will start working on it without fully understanding, and it's going to drive a lot of conversations back and forth, and that will eat up your usage. So you want to avoid that and you want to make sure you start on plan mode. So I'm going to hit it right here and I'm going to add a prompt that I put together just before I record this video. You can see here when I hit enter and then it will start asking me questions. Allow searching for this query. I'm going to say yes. And it's going to continue going. Continue thinking, continue asking questions. And all I have to do in this stage is click yes, until we get to this point right here. At this point, Claude understands what we're trying to build. So it's going to ask us questions, in this case on API choice, language, audio, and interface. And all I have to do is select one of the options. And what makes it really easy is the fact that Claude always recommends one of the answers based on how well he understands our project. So I'm just going to select the answers and keep it running. It's going to go ahead again and ask me a bunch more questions to which I'm going to reply yes or no. And this whole planning process is going to take between 3 and 10 minutes, depending on the complexity of your project. At the end of this process, Claude Code will provide you with a plan. This is a plan of which folders you'll create, which files you'll create, which APIs you'll use, and everything in between. And all you have to do is click on accept or give recommendations. I'm going to go ahead and click accept. And just before I show you the output, I want to show you how much of my plan usage was used just on planning mode. I'm going to take you right here to claude.ai/settings/usage within my paid account. And you can see right here that I use 26% of my current session just on plan mode. But honestly, it's quite worth it because as you'll see later on, the rest of the edits that we make will take a lot less in terms of usage. So I'm going to go back to my VS Code and I'll see that Claude is working away, created a checklist for itself, and it's going step by step and just independently doing all of them. At different points, it will ask me questions, which I can reply yes or no. I normally just put yes for simplicity, and eventually it'll be finished. And when it is finished, I recommend you to go ahead and click on this button right here at the top, Explorer, and you'll be able to see and compare to what it was in the beginning. Because in the beginning, this is where the files lived, which there was 0 files, and all of a sudden, there are folders and files within this project. Now, Claude Code gave me very clear instructions of how to get my API keys, which I will obviously not share with you guys because those are private keys. I added them to the project, and now it says here to run at python app.py and then open on localhost. So I'm going to use it right here. And on the terminal, I'm going to write python app.py. And then I'm going to open the location that Claude told me to open, and it's going to show me what the project looks like right here. And this is pretty amazing. As you can see, I didn't write a single line of code. I didn't open any folder. I didn't have to create any file. And Claude Code simply created this tool. I can see here that I can add my add concept, and what I'm going to do is use a prompt that I just put together right here. And I'm going to choose a voice, an aspect ratio, resolution, and I'm going to click generate video. And I'd be very surprised if this actually works because typically it doesn't work the first time. You always have to troubleshoot a little. And yes, as I expected, an error. But that's absolutely normal and it does happen. But this is exactly what you have to do. You have to go back to Claude Code and you have to troubleshoot it. So what I'm going to say is, I tried generating a video, but got this error. And I'm going to paste the error that I got. What do? Claude Code is going to go ahead and start searching. It's going to ask me a few questions. And in no time, it's going to give me another recommendation. And once I've accepted those recommendations, I can then open it again and run it. Here we have the very first product working within 10 minutes. All I had to do was to write a prompt, accept a couple of recommendations, and we have a product working right here. Now, I don't expect this to fully work, and I'm going to show you the output right now, but I know I can improve it from here. So let's see what it actually sounds and looks like.
This tool helped me pass all my exams. I upload my study material to quizzings.com, and it instantly turns it into an interactive quiz I can practice with. I can track what I got right and wrong, see explanations, and retake quizzes anytime.
Okay, so because we use Nano Banana, which was an instruction by myself, what the project is doing is using the transcript that I put together, the narration, and it's just adding pictures on rotation. This is not exactly what I wanted. I want to create an AI video. So I'm actually going to go back to Claude and ask it to improve it and to actually make it into an AI video. I'm going to go here and say, okay, it worked. It's 4 pictures. I wanted to generate actual video. What model do you recommend? VEO, Kling, Sora. And based on what you recommend, how can we make that implementation? Claude's going to go away, start thinking again, start researching again, and it's going to give me a new plan. I'm going to accept that plan and show you what it now looks like. All right, so I had V1 of the product. I started talking to Claude, going back and forth on what I wanted to improve about the product, and it kept continuously improving. I now have version 2 of it, which I'm going to show you right now. So as you can see here, now I can use a reference image, which is optional, but I can also add different scenes for the video motion. And I'm going to add the same script I had before, and I'm going to click on generate video. This is going to start thinking, and it's going to generate a video for me. Now let's see what this looks like versus version 1.
This tool helped me pass all my exams. I upload my study material to quizzings.com.
Now this is interesting because even though the video works, now it's not just images, the lips don't actually sync with the narration. So that's another thing that we will need to fix. And to give you an idea, for us to plan the project, it used 26% of usage of my current session. For us to then create the V1 version of the product, it used another 12%. And now, every time I ask for an adjustment, it takes between 2 and 5% of my usage. So I can go back and forth with Claude another 10, 20 times, until he eventually runs out and I have to wait a few hours. But that's obviously because I'm in the cheap plan. If I go to the max plan, then I'll have a lot more usage within the same given period of time. I'm going to stop it right here, but this was essentially to give you an idea of how I use Claude Code to build a working application. I could now go back to it and say, find me a solution for the lip sync problem with the narration. And it would. And then I could say, instead of this model, use a different model. Or instead of using this type of scenery or this many scenes, I could always build upon it. And if I wanted to create authentication, so the ability for people to log in and sign up, I would. And you can continuously build upon the application that you have. I actually made another video where I teach you how to deploy a website to be live so that you have a URL and you have a live accessible website. If you are interested in knowing how to do it, you can check the video right here. And if you want to get in touch, you can go to my website, sellingwithnaz.com. I'd love to know if you have any questions or if there's anything I left out, and I may just make another video as a follow-up to show you what the actual product looks like. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, comment, and I'll see you in the next one.